Welcome everybody to tonight's home clinic. A home clinic is where we grab one quality coach and he presents on one specific subject for you guys to enjoy, and he usually does that from home. If you guys have been enjoying this series and would like to see it continue, we want to ask that you would like and subscribe below. Those things certainly help us to grow and is kind of that feedback to say this is a good thing. Keep this coming. If you have a desire to present in the future, reach out to us on Twitter, DM us. That's at the Chief Pigskin. All right, without further ado, tonight's home clinic.
Hey, I'm Coach McDonald for ChiefPigskin.com. I'm here with Justin Robinson, the D-line coach at Hanover College. He's going to talk to us today about D-line technique. Coach, great to have you.
Hey, appreciate you, my man. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Coach, whenever you're ready, man, go ahead and share your screen and present, and we'll talk later.
All right, awesome. Like you said, Coach Robinson from Hanover College. Definitely thank you for being here. You know, it's always a pleasure when I'm able to talk ball with you, man. In my mind, one of the brightest minds down here in Kentucky, Indiana. Congratulations on your new gig as well. So just a little bit about me. First and foremost, you know, I am a God-fearing man, so I always kind of start off with that, you know, just letting people kind of know where my principles and my foundations begins. Secondly, I'm a father. You know, I have a beautiful daughter. She's my pride and joy, and then obviously a husband. A little bit about me from a playing career and where I went to school. I graduated from University of Indianapolis. I was honored enough to play defensive end there, and also was part of that first team that really helped that juggernaut get rolling. So I like to think I have a lasting legacy there. Started my coaching career at Heritage Christian in Indianapolis. Started as a defensive coordinator, associate head coach there. There we had a really good season my first year there. You know, that's some good things in the from the school. If I'm not mistaken, we went 8-2 that year. Then I went back to my alma mater, Bishop Chatard High School. Graduated there, class of 2007. There, my wife got a job change. Ended up bringing her to Evansville as a volleyball coach. So went to Evansville Central, defensive coordinator, associate head coach there. And now I'm at Hanover College, going on my third season. You know, so if any point anybody has questions on kind of like that transition from high school to college, you know, just feel free to hit me up on that as well. Some things I always start off with, man, you know, just kind of, again, foundation, just kind of letting individuals know who I am and what we stand for. In my room, we have 4 pillars. You know, I believe that if you're going to be a successful defensive line coach, you have to really control your room. And you have to really be able to set expectations early and often. And so one thing we talk about a lot, you know, we always revert back to those 4 pillars. You know, commitment, you know, obviously to me, that's something that is a non-negotiable. You know, either you're committed to this game or you're not. Commitment also extends outside the field. So are you committed to the classroom? You know, I am in college, so going to class is very critical. Doing your work is very, very critical. And then also, are you committed to the process of being great? You know, in my room, again, we talk about being one of the best defensive lines in the Midwest. You know, and if you're not willing to talk about your vision and you're not willing to consistently remind your guys of your vision, it's going to be tough for your guys to buy into you as well. So then the second one, effort and passion. I'll never ever coach your effort or your passion. You know, again, either you have it or you don't. You know, by the time I hit the field, my hair is on fire. You know, I'm having fun with my guys. You know, that effort and passion will always be there. It'll never be a question. The third one for me is breakthrough. Breakthrough basically just talks about, man, you're going to go through some trials and tribulations. You know, there's going to be some tough times in your life. What are we doing to break past that point? What are we doing to get you to your breakthrough as a young man and then also as a football player? You know, at the end of the day, we're going to get in some 4th and 1s. We're going to be down. You know, what are we going to do to overcome that adversity to prevail and win this game? And last one, pretty simple, we before me. You know, defensive line, it's a selfless position. You know, we let the pretty boys behind us make a lot of the plays, and then the other pretty boys in the back end, they make all the interceptions. So it's a very selfish position. A lot of times we're taking up to doing a lot of the grunt, dirty work. But that's a mentality that you got to have. And then the last one, something we always say, man, we're going to try to create havoc in the trenches. You know, that's our mantra. So my guys are called the hitmen, and that's kind of where that stems from. Next, just kind of talking about my philosophy a little bit. I try not to get too exotic or too deep with my philosophy. But at the end of the day, you know, we're going to be a unit that attacks with great fundamentals. I put vision in there as well because I do believe vision is a fundamental. I believe that's something you need to work on every day. We're going to play with outstanding leverage, violent hands, and relentless effort. The relentless effort piece for me is crucial because, again, as a D lineman, if you're not willing to sacrifice and run to the ball, you're probably going to be on the bench with me. That's just fair to say. Coaching philosophy, I have a ground up approach. So I really want to start everything from the ground up. I want to break it down to its smallest parts. So I work with the whole thought process. Got that from Larry Johnson from Ohio State. Just again, breaking things down. Let's break it down to the smallest point, and let's understand what we're trying to do. And then let's put it all together. So kind of when I teach my guys things, I'll show them a picture of how it's supposed to be done. All right. And then we'll take the minute details and steps from that, break it all in parts, and then we'll put it all back together just to make it make sense. So, and then going into some non-negotiables to be a dominant defensive line, in my personal opinion, you have to be able to establish a line of scrimmage. If you're a D-line coach and you guys are not establishing the line of scrimmage, well, you're probably not going to have a good day from the run stopping standpoint. We're going to crowd the football, and we're always going to attack angles of departure. So my guys really understand what it means from an angle of departure, just understanding where that guy is going and how we're going to attack it. That's always going to be crucial for us. We're going to get a vertical push as well. That's that knockback piece. Again, I tell my guys a lot of times, hey, somebody should almost get whiplash to this game. We want to knock it back so many times. We're knocking that head back. And so when I'm looking on film, I'm like, damn, there's a knockback right there. We actually have a knockback reel that I'll play for my guys, just so they kind of see themselves doing it well. And then again, just praising them for when they do the little things right. And then we talk a lot about get your body in your gap. I do apologize. I should say gap, not game. Get your body in your gap as well as your eyes. It's one thing to kind of peek in that gap, but we want to make sure that you have a presence there. So if that ball can cut back, it's going to cut back where we want it to. Disengage violently. I think this is crucial here because a lot of people, they try to get off blocks and say, oh, well, coach, I got off the block. No, let's do it violently. One thing I always talk to my guys about, especially with our two-hand snatches, throw that guy into your back pocket, throw that guy into your opposite pocket. You want to throw him across your body, throw him into your other pocket. And then last but not least, get to the football. Don't make an excuse when I cut off that film, how close are you to the ball? And for me, again, those are some non-negotiables just to be a dominant defensive line. Just kind of getting into some run fundamentals. I do apologize. We're not able to kind of film everything we do in individual. So I did find some things that I think are pretty crucial when developing D linemen. Some things that we focus on every day. And then I'll kind of talk about some other everyday stuff that we do as well. So first and foremost, we are a 4-2-5 defense. I want to kind of talk to you about personnel and kind of how things are up here. So looking at this defense, this is kind of how we essentially always set our front. Now, depending on schemes, obviously we can kind of look more like an over front of 3 techs to the field. Just really depends on what's going on with us and how we're game planning for teams. But from our base alignment standpoint, you're going to play at the end will always be to the field. For us, this guy is a bigger guy. This guy is a guy that's a little bit stronger. He's a little bit thicker in the lower half. This is that guy that's that true edge setter for us. And he's also that guy that can apply that field pressure when it comes to pass rushing. Our 2I, he is a bit of a stouter individual. This 2I is going to take a lot of double teams. So he's a guy that's got to be a little more stout, especially when it comes to double teams. Just kind of some of the things we do with our linebackers. We want to make sure this guy's pretty stout. A-gap player, our 3 tech, in my personal opinion, in the 4-2-5 defense, to me, the 3 tech is the most important piece. I think if you have a dominant 3 tech and you have a guy that's really good at 3 tech, your defensive line is going to be really good. And I've been blessed to have a cheat code here. I got him for 1 more year, so I'm really excited about that. And he's a guy that, he's 5'11", 240, 6% body fat. He's a freak, so again, very fortunate to have him. He's from Florida. He's primarily a B gap player. That's his primary gap. We do some things with some secondary gap stuff as well. Just kind of depending on what our scheme is and what the call is. And then backside, this guy's our ram. This guy for me is a hybrid guy. Our personnel, you can kind of say we're 3-4 personnel, but play 4 down front primarily. With the spread game and, everybody wants to stretch the field, you got to have athletes on the edges of your defense, I believe. And I believe that has to be on the defensive line as well. So you have them at corner, you have them on your D line, and you have them at linebacker. Just kind of gives offensive lines a bit of fits. So kind of going into our fundamentals, for us, we use 3 different stances. We use a jam stance, jet stance, and a frog stance, okay? So our jam and jet, for us, that's more of our attacking stance. We play a lot of teams that run zone schemes. For us, we want to really attack it. We want to cut off the zones. And while doing that, we understand, hey, if the zone's to me, I understand who's the cutback player. So a lot of those times we'll kind of U-turn those things, just making sure we can kind of meet that cutback before it gets started. For that, our progression, I kind of show you a little progression we do. But a lot of time we're going to be toe to inseam, a little bit wider than our shoulders. I like to kind of start with a wider base because as you guys know, when they start going, their base gets narrow. So if they're already starting with the base that's shoulder width apart, that's going to get even narrower. And that's when you see guys kind of tripping over themselves. And when you see guys aren't as stout as they should be. Our jet, that's our pass rush. That's when we're going to get after it. I'll talk a little bit more in depth about that later on, but with our jet stance, we're no longer looking at our man. We're going to periph the ball. Our defensive ends, though, will look at the outside knee of the offensive tackle. And our thing is we want to move through the ball. Okay, we don't want to move with the ball. We want to move through the ball, meaning as that ball is going through the center's legs, we want to be moving through the center's legs as well. If you can kind of understand that from a visual standpoint, and then our frog. That's more of our balanced stance. You kind of see guys like TCU do it. You see Wisconsin do it sometimes. Oregon, those teams that are more 3-4, two gap systems. They use more of a read stance. We do have some 3-4 principles at times where we will be 2 gap here and there. So we'll do that as well. Any questions so far, Coach?
No, we're good, Coach.
All right, cool. So from a visual standpoint, for me, it all starts with your eyes. Bad eyes make bad football players. And for me, if you're able to understand what's going on, you understand your pressure key, you understand your visual key, and again, the angles of departure, you're always going to be really good. And so some of the things we focus on, we look at the tip of the shoulder pad as well as near knee. So I give my guys 2 options, okay? We kind of go through spring and we go through summer, fall camp and say, hey, where do you feel most comfortable with your eyes? Do you feel more comfortable looking at the V of the neck or the tip of the shoulder pad, or do you feel more comfortable with that near knee? Okay. And for us with the near knee, we're going to use offensive linemen's technique and fundamentals against them. Okay. You look at offensive line, a lot of the things they do is, hey, let's work on this fundamentals as far as how we're stepping, how we're moving to create this type of block. And so what we're really looking for there is, hey, if knees coming to me, I know it's some type of base or reach block. Knees going inward, I know it's a down block. Knee goes backwards, I know now it's a pass set. So just kind of having those little tidbits and indicators to help you are some things that's going to help you with, attacking your man and attacking your keys. And then the last one, we talk about attack your block. We have a 2-foot get off. So for me, when it comes to attacking the line of scrimmage, you really want to be able to assert your will. So we talk a lot about hands, hips, lower back, and feet. All right. I believe firmly that if you get your hands on somebody, your feet will follow. So the quicker you can get your hands from the ground to the man, the better. And then also when you're getting that 2-foot get off, almost kind of like a long jump in a sense, when you're able to do that, you're now putting all that pressure and force into that man to help you create that knockback. So I found that kind of helps us a lot as well. Hand placement, some of the stuff we talk about when it comes to hand placement. We have two really things that I talk to them about when it comes to hand placement, whether your hands are supinated or pronated, okay? Supinated, we all know, thumbs up, so we're going to be thumbs up. We're going to attack things that are below our waist. So any blocks that you get above your waist, you're going to get base, reach, down block, or even a pass set. Those are going to be things that we're going to attack with our thumbs up, right? So when you talk about pronate, we talk about things that are below our waist. So now we're working a cut block. We need to get stopped down on this helmet to help stop that cut block. So now your thumb will be down. Does that make a little sense? So just making sure my guys understand when we're using certain type of hand placement. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to attack the V of the neck and the bicep. A lot of my guys do struggle sometimes getting that bicep. I do believe that near bicep, you control that man's arm a little bit better. Also allows you to rip off blocks a little bit better. And one thing we're going to do, once we attack it, we're going to pin that bicep to him. Pin the bicep down. So now you really can control him with your fit. Block recognition, I talk to my guys about this a lot, just understanding angles of departure. Again, like I talked earlier, just understanding where that guy's coming from and understanding how to attack that angle of departure. Pre-snap reads, to me, it's very crucial. I mean, I hope you're looking at down and distance and understanding situational football. Obviously, you get the call, you understand kind of what's going on, looking at down and distance, how tight am I, how loose am I, for me will allow my guys to kind of play things a little bit better. Understanding your man key, pressure key, and then, make sure you get in a good stance. Make sure you're looking at your splits, make sure your eyes are ready, and look at some hand pressure on the offensive lineman. Again, offensive linemen cheat so much. Sometimes it's really easy to see what an offensive lineman is doing. I think we got to just do a better job of training our kids to understand that, and that will help them a lot as well. So looking at our stance, we do have a progression. So I'll kind of show you the progression here. So right here, this is my 3 tech. So kind of how we always start, let's say I got a freshman coming in and we're just learning how to get in the stance. Okay. First thing I'm going to tell him to kick it out. All right. So you'll see him right here. He'll kick it out. I'll tell him to squat down, stick it out. Okay. And so from there, once he gets into that position, then I'll start to adjust him. I'm saying, hey, go ahead and move your hand forward a little bit. Now, again, he's not the tallest, so I can't expect him to extend his body out a lot. Obviously, each stance is different. And I think as coaches, we understand that. And then we got to get our guys to understand that as well. You can still be functional. Still looking at him, he's still outside his shoulders, which is kind of what I want. Now, this could be a little bit wider on this side, but he's in a comfortable stance for him. I try not to get too crazy with their stances just because I want them to be athletes. We are going to have our butt slightly up. We are going to have that Z in our knees. And then also another big thing that as D-linemen, we got to do a better job at is getting ankle flexibility. Okay, ankle flexibility and having that rigidity in your ankles. Once you're able to do that, I think a lot of guys will kind of find that they're able to explode out of their stance a little bit better. They're able to bend a little bit better. And then that'll help the rest of your body kind of stay in line as well. Good flat back here, head up, neck on the brace. I would like to see this hand drop down a little bit more. We do sometimes play with our hands. It kind of looks like we're in 4 points, but we're just grazing the grass or turf. So again, he's comfortable. He's a really good football player. So I just let him kind of do his thing there. I learned a long time ago, this is just a back view of it, just so you can kind of see. I learned a long time ago, don't put a saddle on a Mustang, what I mean? Let him go. And that's something I do. So a few of these drills that we use every day that I think are pretty important. One being our 6-point punch. Again, working from the ground up. We always talk about, blow delivery, setting the tone, but, a lot of times guys don't necessarily know how. So it's always pretty cute to have buzzwords of, hey, we want to set the line of scrimmage. We want to do this, that, and the third, but let's make sure we're coaching them how to do it. Okay. So you can kind of see here what I really like. I like toes. I like the toes kind of bent back so you have that power. Now, if we were outside and we were doing a 6-point layout, he now has that power where he can really generate and snap through. Okay. Hips are loaded. He does a good job with his eyes, as you can see, staring down his target. Again, just little things like that to kind of help him. As he goes, again, looking at his target now, understanding, I know we're using this is a little shorter. I like to see his hands above his eyes, but I like that he's looking at his hands. Okay. Again, working on little things, even if you're not able to say, hey, I want you, when we strike this, your hands are going to be above your eyes. But if you're able to work on those little minute details of, hey, can you see your hands? Are you looking it in? Hey, are you squeezing the penny? Okay, we talk about that a lot. I kind of got that from Pete Jenkins. Talks about that quite a bit. We're just talking about squeezing the penny with his butt cheeks, kind of getting that belt buckle to the dirt. And kind of what I tell my guys, hey, pull your belly button to the dirt. Okay, pull your belly button to the dirt. Because again, we're going to overemphasize the snap. Okay. And when you guys do that more and more and they start to feel it, they'll start to really understand what you're looking for. Again, he does a good job. Again, if we was outside, his thumbs would be up a little bit more just because of this apparatus here. He had to kind of be smart here. I wasn't trying to break his wrist. But you kind of look at his shoulders, you look at his down and back. That's, again, something else we look for to create that firmness throughout his upper body to help him take on blocks as well. Then I always go to a side. So we'll always kind of start frontal, go to a side, because, again, we don't play in a two-gap scheme. So there's no point of always doing things from a frontal position because we're not really frontal a ton. But we'll come to a side, and this is where you can kind of see now he's really working that technique a little bit better. Okay, hand on the V of the neck. The other hand is on the other side of this, which will kind of mimic his the bicep, grabbing that bicep and controlling your man and controlling your gap. Again, squeezing the penny here. 3-point layout, another one of my favorites. These are some things that we'll do every single day. Some variation of it. 3-point layout, again, another one of my favorites. Hey, here, we're just going to play with steel feet. I'm not necessarily worried about what type of stance he's in. I'm more so worried about the action, okay? Again, just making sure I'm breaking things down. Worried about the action so he feels it, and then he can get into the type of stance he wants to play it. Now, just kind of looking at the explosion out of him. I think he does a really good job of exploding. Really good job, again, of pinching that penny. Hands above his eyes, thumbs are up. And again, looking through it, okay? That's a really good job there. So that's kind of what we're looking for in our 3-point layout. So when I look at our reach block, all right, like I said, I just wanted to kind of get some things that we do every day and some things that we see every game. We see a lot of reach blocks. Looking at reach blocks, we work this inside. So first and foremost, you use a PVC pipe, all right? If you notice, his eyes are closed as well as his head is down, okay? For me, this is all about feel, okay? Because we talk a lot about feeling pressure. So in order for him to be able to understand this, and again, breaking this down to the smallest points, for him to understand this, close his eyes, hands are inside. We're saying hands are inside right now. And this young man right here, all he's going to do is just trigger, okay? Trigger either way, and he's going to react to it, okay? He's going to react. Good. Does a good job. Now, I would like to see him start to press it more vertical. He's trying to work our reach and gather technique. Again, like to see him press it more vertical, but what I like that he's trying to really punch this. Okay, he's really trying to punch there. Again, with this stuff that we do, especially when we're indoors, we're going to go half speed. He doesn't know half speed, so he tries to go at least 70, 80. But really focusing on the technique. As he's pushing this back, he's starting to pull this down, okay? Again, just talking about what we're going to see. Does a great job of keeping a great base here, as well as I talk sometimes about railroading. So kind of how railroad tracks are built, just kind of railroad your feet, and then start to reach and gather, start to gain ground, okay? Does a good job. You kind of see where he ends. He ends forward, which is good. Then he resets. He'll trigger him again, and same thing. And then we'll kind of go back and forth here. And that's just something that, no pads, nothing's going to kill you. Just something to kind of help you get your guys going. It can even be a pre-practice type thing. And then next one, kind of talk about the power of the knockback. For me, this is your tone setter. When you're able to start knocking things back and you're able to really, really insert your will early. I know me as a player, I was a little arrogant. I used to tell guys, hey, it's going to be all day. It's going to be all day affair. Yeah, I don't care if I make a play, but you're going to walk out of this thing with whiplash. You know, and I tell my guys, hey, you got to sometimes have that mentality. It's not always about making a play. You know, but when you're starting to assert your will, and as an OC, and you're like, damn, they kicking our ass over there. You know, then you got to think, hey, how are you going to run to him? Well, you can't run to him because you know what he's doing to that guard over there. So then you risk now bringing in a new guy. The new guy may be less experienced. Then I'll take my guy all day over that. So this right here, when we talk about knockback, I like to use visual cues with my guys. So kind of came up with a grid progression. And essentially all this is talking about how we're attacking the line of scrimmage, okay? So what I did, I showed my guys this grid and basically said, hey, I need you guys to understand this and what I mean by knockback, all right? So right now we're saying this guy is already kind of in the grid, okay? He's already in the grid, but you're not, all right? So what we're saying is here, as you're attacking this man here, I want you to put him to the back of his grid, and I want your 2 feet in the grid, okay? So now understanding that, hey, okay, coach is really saying when I end, I need to end with my feet on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. You know, and again, I know this may seem silly, but when you talk about today's kids and we talk about giving them instructions, a lot of them need extra visual cues. A lot of them need extra things to get them to understand what you're trying to say. Okay. And I truly believe once we get to the back of this grid, the world is ours. Okay. We'll be able to do pretty much anything we want to do from there. Looking at some clips, just kind of some knockbacks, you know, looking at this guy, this is the guy that was just doing our drill work, just kind of knocking it back, setting it off, knocking things back here. You know, he does a good job of getting that initial shock. He's low. They tried to double team him here. So as you can kind of see, this foot kind of comes off the ground some. What he's trying to do is bar stool and hip into that double, okay? I don't necessarily teach, you know, fall to a knee. We bar stool everything, you know, just kind of like if you go to the bar and you just throw that leg up. That's all it is, bar stool, hip into the double. But really just focusing on how we're knocking it off a level. Because of this knockback, look what it made the puller do. Puller now has to go around a little bit more. Now, obviously, we're getting the run fits coming down, free hitter, make plays. Looking at another one here, same guy. You know, as you can see, I mean, this guy's really aggressive. He does it consistently. Now, this is more so on play action. Does a good job of getting extension. Starting to win on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. What I really like is that once he went to that extension, he went to his long arm. Okay, went to his long arm from here to kind of create extra separation, to create extra pressure, and then go get him. Okay. Kind of see it here. Again, good job. Then go hunt him. Same guy up top. This is the guy, obviously you guys can see, this is the guy that I use a lot when it comes to what I'm looking for. You know, he really sets the tone for us. We've gotten better. This is from this 2 years film. We've gotten a lot better up front of doing this. But again, it's easy money for him. You know, when you're able to knock back the line of scrimmage, you're now able to pursue a lot better, make plays. You know, he does a good job of that for us. Up here. So just to let you guys know, I watch a lot of wide just because I'm trying to really look at the line of scrimmage. So for me, wide shot is very important and very crucial. We're looking at this guy up here. He's going to do a good job of getting a good surge, setting the line of scrimmage, able to make the play. So with double teams, now we do have two different things we do with double teams. We will do a spike and get up. So a spike and run. So pretty much, let's say you're getting doubled and you can't really hip into it. My guys will sometimes spike it down and pop up and go run. Okay. Now when we spike it down, I'll show you here in a second. Let me see right here. So we're focusing right here on our zero right here. So he's going to get the double. He'll get the double here. kind of, as you can see, he's about to get worked. It looks like he's about to get worked. Bad positioning. I love that he's trying to hip into it, though. I like that he's trying to hip into it. He's controlling his guy. But what I really like is as this happens, spikes that knee down, okay? Spikes that knee down to reduce his blocking surface. So now this guy's just going up to the backer. This guy's still over here, which now he pops up in his gap, help out and go run, okay? So that's just the whole concept of the spike down. Here, again, looking at the double team. It's a good job of right here, number 2, a bar stooling this. Go make a play. Same thing down here, looking at number 2 again. Does a good job of coming off low, striking low, able to hip into it. I don't like that. Okay. I'm not a big fan of your feet are off the ground. I'm not a big fan of that at all. So that's the one. He did get a minus on this for his technique, just for that. But again, coming off low, striking, helping out, making plays. So now kind of leading into pass rush. Just kind of talk to you a little bit quickly, just our philosophy on pass rush, kind of on some of the things we do here. So first and foremost, when it comes to pass rush, man, you got to have a great get off. Like I talked earlier, you want to move through the ball, not with the ball. And then I talk to my guys a lot about bounce out your stance, and break the tape. Okay, and that's where that 2-foot get off comes off. We think a lot about track athletes. When you look at Usain Bolt run, he's kind of levitating for a little bit before his feet start running. That's kind of what we try to get. Our 80 points, we're always going to look at 2 yards behind the offensive line. Now, it's a lot more intricate than that. But that's what I tell my guys. You need to be at least 2 yards behind you. Angles of the quarterback, we want to always try to see where the quarterback's going. I'll show you kind of a breakdown we do on the quarterback here in a second. When it comes to what we're working, so my guys, I talk to them a lot about working the third of a man. And the reason why I talk about third of a man, because I want to make sure we're really working the tip of the man. All right. A lot of times when I tell them half a man, they end up getting whole man. So I've learned the more and more I tell them, hey, work a third of a man, it really starts to help those guys, especially my outside guys. When it comes to just making sure that we understand what's going on, especially with what type of moves we're trying to work, will also depend on what type of angle we're going to take. Inside guys are going to work more so half a man. And the reason why inside guys will go half a man is because we're always playing that draw as well. Okay. A lot of teams are going to really try to press you up the field, but if I'm working half a man and I can still control that guy, I still can help out on that draw. All right. Again, attack and react, throw the backside arm. We talk a lot about throw that tennis ball off the ground behind you and breaking the tape. And last one, you want to make sure you finish. We're going to throw the backside arm, make sure that you're finishing through the quarterback, not to the quarterback, but through the quarterback. So this right here is just kind of an example of kind of what we want to look like. When we talk about breaking the tape, we're talking about getting to a sprinter stance. I like to see him a little lower, but I love the triple extension he's getting. I love that he's trying to gain that ground. And so from here, he's going to take this next step and he's going to really push it back into the ground to propel himself. He's got great arm action here. I don't know if you can see the upper arm there. He's got great arm action here. Chest is going forward. And a lot of times with running mechanics, the faster you run, you throw your hands, the faster you'll end up being. Excuse me, coach. Sorry. So some of the things we talk about, just very briefly, we talk about a speed angle and a power angle. This is something I got from Coach Joyner from SMU. Did a great job of explaining it. It was something that I've always used. I just never had the correct terminology. So, I got it from him. Speed angle, we kind of talk about what our approach looked like from a speed angle. Speed angle, we're going to be more so squared up. We're going to be a yard and a half outside the outside foot of the tackle. And our speed angle, we're going to really race it. We're going to really race to that 4, really race to the point of contact of what we're looking for. A lot of offensive linemen call it the line of intersect. But we're going to really try our best to get there first. Kind of the approach we use. This is something he said that kind of put things in perspective for me. We're going to use a speed, power. Okay. And what speed, power is kind of our footwork. So let's say this right here is a stance, right-handed stance. We're going to go speed, give him a power step to get him to sit down. And then we're going to essentially have the world in our hands as far as what type of moves we want to use. Okay. So just giving him that hezzy, that jab step will allow him to flash his hands, show us what he's trying to do. And therefore it'll help us on our rush. The next angle we look at is a power angle. So looking at this angle, we're going to be a little more tilted. We're going to be tilted, not as loose. We'll still be loose, but we're going to be tilted where we can kind of come down the pipe sooner. Okay. Coming down the pipe sooner, obviously this guy is going to say, hey, he's about to speed me. He's about to give me a power rush. So what he's going to do, he's going to hunker down, right? So I tell my guys a lot of times when these guys hunker down, we're going to now finesse them. Okay. Because they got a lot of weight forward. We're going to finesse those guys into giving us what we want. All right. All right. So like I was talking about the next part of our teaching progression, I kind of talk about the road. And the road for my guys is kind of the way in which you go. So kind of for when my guys know when to use certain moves, what they're looking for. So what we talk about here, this right here is your road. All right. Essentially. And tackle starts here. So what I tell my guys is if you're on your road and you've already done your speeds, you've already done your pass rush progression steps, and this guy is still kind of back, shoulders are still horizontal with the line of scrimmage. Hey, let's go ahead and run by him. Let's go ahead and speed dip him. Let's run by him. Okay. Next one, hip. So let's say now you're on your pass rush progression again, and this guy now starts to kind of cross into your road a little bit. You've done that power step and he's giving you hands. Well, let's go ahead and side scissor him, and we're going to go ahead and hip around him and stay on our pass rush. Keeping your hips vertical. We actually don't flip hips. We more do crossover steps. So as we're pass rushing, you side scissor, you throw the side scissors at a 45-degree angle, bring that opposite foot. So let's say it's the right foot. You're going to bring the right foot, cross over your left, and then get your eyes to the quarterback, get your toes to the quarterback, go make a play. Next one, counter. Let's say again, hey, you've given him these 2 doses so far. He's like, oh God, coach, I don't know what to do with this kid. So coach says, hey, go overset him. Okay. So for now, same progression. Everything looks the same. Taking the same progression. He now oversets you. We're just going to go ahead and counter inside. Okay. We're going to counter inside on this guy, get back in our rush lanes, go make a play. The last one is power. And what I tell my guys is, hey, man, you're an F-150, okay? And that's a deer, all right? You've given him a dose of everything over here. And so what's going to happen now, same progression, he now gets in your line of sight. You notice he's still backing up. We're going to go ahead and power rush through him, okay? And with our power rushes, we're going to go 2 to 1. So I always want you to get 2 hands on them and then extend to 1. Our best power rush, in my opinion, is our long arm. That's something we work a ton of. And that's something that my guys it's a staple rush for them. A lot of times, I don't want them to just lead with 1 hand. I want them to actually get 2 on, because from there, we then go to our power sweep. Okay. Because again, trying to keep everything the same. I don't want you to stick out that 1 hand and offensive lineman are like, oh, he's about to long arm me. I know for a fact he's long arming. Well, let's keep it the same. Okay. Just what I was talking about earlier, kind of my breakdown of quarterbacks and kind of how I do it. I look at the quadrants, just basically seeing where quarterback's most efficient. Okay. And obviously where he's most efficient, a lot of times I want to try to take that away and get him to throw to an area he's not comfortable. So just kind of, and also looking at where he's escaping from. What gaps is he escaping? Okay. So for me, when we're looking at all this stuff and we're breaking this stuff down from a pass rush standpoint, we're going to tell ourselves, hey, he can't escape to his right, to our left. He can't escape. Okay. He's really good running that direction. We need to keep him going these directions over here, where he's a lot less comfortable. That way it'll help us. Something else we do up front, we work on automatic cover me. All right. And for me, a cover me, all that is essentially trying to help us keep this guy in the pocket. I don't always talk about rush lanes per se. I may so talk about getting to your aiming points. And a lot of times we're running twist games, so aiming points change. But if let's say we got a base rush on right here, this guy's going, this guy's going, this guy's going, this guy's going. But all of a sudden we start to get out leveraged over here where he's going to work an automatic cover me and help him. Okay. So that's something we have in play that has been worked really well for us. Something that kind of helps make up for mistakes. And a lot of times it turns into an automatic game itself as well. So here are just some pass rush drills that I typed up for you just to kind of look at. You know, we do hoops, we do a D-line medley, we do the L drill, we do a 3 and bend where we really work on bending. 3 and bend is more so for the ends. The defensive tackles will work more of a 2 and bend, just making sure they can kind of cut that tight. What I talk to the inside guys also about is about cutting that pizza slice. Okay, so when you look at, we'll work on a number. So let's take the number 0. We'll work on that, and we'll really work on just coming around the top and cutting off that pizza slice. You know, kind of what I tell them is like, hey, the top of it is the crust. All right, top of it is the crust. As you're coming back down, you're creating that triangle that now made your pizza slice. So we talk about that a lot. We talk about just things from an inside perspective as well. We do a lot of arm over stuff with inside rushes, but a lot of it also, again, is predicated off our speed. So we're always going to have speed in everything we do. We're always going to show speed. And then, you know, just some pass rush moves that we work a lot of. Obviously, our speed rush, and then we have everything off our speed, our stab work, up and under, cross chop, which cross chop is probably one of our other top favorite move right now. Our stutter series is really good. And then, you know, jab ole, tight swim, and then obviously side scissors. So, you know, just being able to put this together in a combination to make it make sense, I think has really helped my guys a lot, as well as just understanding that, hey, have a plan. Have a plan when you're going up that rush. You know, my guys will typically go into a game with 3 pass rush moves. You know, they got their bread and butter, they got a change up, and then they got something funky. And the reason why I say that is because if these guys are watching film the way I'm watching film, they're going to say, oh, okay, his favorite move is the long arm. Oh, okay, his counter from the long arm is long arm snatch. So what else is there? So I tell my guys, hey, make sure you got something in your bag they haven't seen on film. And it does change sometimes week to week with my guys, just because I have some guys that can really rush the passer. So that will change week to week, that whatever that changeup is. But I also tell them too, don't try to be a rocket scientist. Don't overcomplicate it. Take what they're trying to give you. You know, if they're giving you horizontal shoulders, you better abuse them on the edge. They're giving you vertical shoulders, you better abuse them with power and going inside. Okay, so just understanding what they're setting you up for is what's going to help them as well. All right, so looking at this here, this is just kind of a template, a drill work that I have for my guys. Obviously dealing with Corona right now, my guys need to stay in shape. They need to stay ready. So just giving them some things that they can do away from me, and this is also kind of our staples when it comes to our pre-practice, and when it comes to some of the other drill work we do. So we always will have a bag series, no matter what the bag series looks like, you know, 1 foot in, 2 foot in, lateral shuffle both ways. Sometimes we look like a DB, you know, we'll hit that little W. You know, we'll work here, flip hips in the middle, sprint to the end. Same thing, you know, here we're bounding. So just 2 foot bounds, jumping over bags. You know, here's kind of like that gauntlet medley, going over 1, coming back, going over 2, coming back, going over 3, coming back. Cut drill. Well, at the end of cut, we'll always work jumping up, because a lot of my guys, they'll get cut, balls coming right behind where they're getting cut. So they'll jump up, match the hands. Here we're working a V, getting downhill. You got your L drill, you got your hoops, your figure 8, 5, 10, 5. Here, dot drill. I'm a big fan of dot drill and jumping rope. So my guys are going to always do some form of dot drill or line drill. They're going to do things that are consistently working on those fast twitch fibers in their legs, as well as working on their tendons in their feet. Sometimes my guys would do this with no shoes. Working on strengthening the feet, working on the rigidity of the ankle. And again, talking about being fluid in your lower body. Bag drills, you know, these are something my guys can do even right now. You know, they can get on hashes, imagine there's bags, but I'm trying to give them some direction. Give them some things of what they can and can't do just to get them ready for camp. And then here, got some footwork pass rush footwork drills. Just kind of showing my guys what their foot placement should look like. And that's been really good. And the last one, got some hand dot drill here. You know, I really like working hand dot drill, working it independent, working it together. We'll do our double swipe. So we'll kind of do a Z like our double swipe. We'll do different things to just kind of make sure that they're rocking and rolling there. And then, you know, of course, we'll finish with ladders. So that's kind of a general overview of us. Obviously, there's a lot more intricate to it. There's a lot more to it. You know, I'm always happy to talk in more detail with whoever wants to talk in more detail. You know, we want to talk more scheme. We can talk about how we're defending. You name it. We can talk about it all. Just let me know. I'll be happy to do it.
Sounds good. Coach, I really appreciated that.
No problem.
Just in that, 30, 40 minutes, however long it was, man, I took a few things away that I'd never really thought of. I like your vocab term there, the angle of departure.
Mm-hmm.
You elaborate a little bit more on how you teach that and what guys are looking for?
Yeah, sure. Can I share my screen again?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So when I talk to my guys about angle of departure, all right, we're just gonna say this is a center. All right. I talk about, hey, where's he going? All right, where's he going? Is he coming to you? Is he going away from you? Is he trying to cross your body? So for my guys, understanding where he's going helps them understand what type of block they're seeing. All right. I know if he comes back and he says, hey, coach, he's just leaving me. Okay. Well, I know he's going straight to a backer. So for him, that now tells him, since he's going straight to a backer, I need to squeeze and constrict that, and I need to close off this A gap. Okay. We try not to let these guys climb the backers. You know, we want those guys to make plays and do what they need to do. There's so much stress on linebackers nowadays that we really try to make things easy with constricting things. So now we look here, we say, hey, coach, he's coming straight at me. Well, his angle of departure is to you. So that's a base block, okay? Understanding that, again, he understands, hey, now I got to hunker down a little bit more. I got to make sure I'm staying thick in my fit. I got to make sure I really take my A gap, okay? Again, we're going to work a strong inside hand here. So as we're pressing this, we're going to machine gun our feet, separate the line of scrimmage, get that knockback that we talked about, and we're going to just hang in our gap. I want half our body and our eyes in our gap. A big thing that I failed to mention earlier, one of the things that we really do when we talk about controlling gaps, we want to put our chin on our arm, okay? And the reason why we put our chin on our arm, because a lot of guys start to get outside the framework of their body. You know, when you get outside the framework of your body, peeking and guessing where the ball's coming, it starts to get really difficult to disengage from blocks. But when I keep everything in tight and I now have my chin on my arm, it's easy for me to now shed that and keep everything tight and inside. You know, again, we talk about being a boxer. You know, boxers they're powerful because their punches come from in tight. You know, and that's kind of how we want to do it with these guys as well. So those two angles, and then you look at, hey, coach, this guy, he's coming across me. If a guy's coming across you, he's probably going to try to reach you. I mean, he's going to try to reach you. Or, you know, there's going to be some type of scoop here. You know, if him and the guard are coming together, they're going to try to scoop you up, running some type of zone scheme. They're going to try to scoop you up to a backer, okay? But still with that, you understand he's coming across your body, so you're going to kind of play that like a reach. Okay, you're going to use your reach and gather technique as this guy's coming across, reach and gather technique, pop that shoulder here, really pull here, tight arm over, square up in the gap. Okay, does that make sense there?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, and then the last one, and to me is the easiest, is pass set. You know, he's backing up on you. His angle departure is running. You know, we talk about take the fight to him. You know, he's running from you. Obviously, you need to smell some type of screen setup or draw setup. But, hey, go attacking. Use your leverage and attack him with that.
Coach, I think you shared a lot of stuff that high school coaches for sure can take away. You know, a few things from that, preach it to their guys, and
Absolutely.
You're probably looking at much better high school D linemen. I like how you focus on the minute details. You know, not pinching the penny. What was the term there?
Yeah, pinch the penny.
Pinch the penny.
As you're coming through. Yep, pinch the penny with your butt cheeks. Absolutely.
Then that gets your glute into it.
Absolutely.
which strengthens the hips, strengthens the core naturally.
Yep.
Now you're a tree trunk. Now you're in the ground. You got some force behind you.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
little stuff like that I've gotten from you over the years that I really appreciate. Our audience can certainly get a lot out of that too. So again, this is Coach Justin Robinson, Hanover College in Hanover, Indiana. Great resource for you guys. We have a lot more great stuff like this on Chief Pigskin. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and check us out at clinic.chiefpigskin.com. Thank you guys.
All right. Appreciate you, man.